Bali's looming water crisis, and Minister of Tourism and Creative Economy targets 10 to 15% redistribution of South Bali tourists to the north. Stay tuned for details on these and other stories. Selamat siang. Welcome to the latest news from Bali and Indonesia. This is September 24th, 2024, and my name is Bruce. And what is the weather like today? It is 29.8 degrees Celsius with a humidity of 67% and a wind speed really gusty today, 21.4 kilometers per hour, blowing everything around on my balcony. But up here in Kampung Bugis, it is a little hazy, really windy, but a nice day overall. And I hope wherever you are, the weather is just as pleasant as it is up here, although maybe a little less windy. Okay, let's get started with the first story of the day. Bali's looming water crisis. Yeah, indeed. A respected observer of zoning and development in Bali, Professor Rumawan Saleng, once highlighted that water supplies are not evenly distributed across the island, with some regions naturally more disposed to water scarcity. Based on data from the Indonesian Ministry of Environment and Forestry published in 2021, the entire island of Bali will soon confront a water deficit by 2025. 2025, yeah, that's next year. As reported by the Bali Post, the Environment Ministry recorded in 2021 that Bali's water requirements amounted to 5,951.92 liters per second. In 2025, water usage is projected to increase to 7,991.29 liters per second. Wow. Experts warn that Bali will experience a water deficit by 2025 if the current infrastructure providing piped water does not urgently add more capacity. The Bali chapter of the Indonesian Forum for the Environment estimates that the hotel sector consumes 56% of Bali's total water supplies. The Ecoregion Development Control Center for Bali and Nusa Tenggara declared in 2021 that Bali's water reserves are no longer sustainable. And people have been talking about this for years. The executive director of Wali Bali, Made Krishna Dinata, recently estimated that every starred hotel room in Bali consumes at least 800 liters of water daily. Non-starred hotels consume 250 liters of water per room per day. He said, hotels are grouped as the greediest users of water compared with domestic consumption of water for Bali as a whole, which stands at only 200 liters of water per person per day. He cited worrisome data from the National Statistic Agency, BPS, that reports Bali recorded a sharp increase in hotels from 113 in the year 2000 to 541 in 2023. Wow. During the same 23-year period, hotel rooms grew from 19,000 to 54,000, and they're still building. Wali has long warned that the rapid hotel development spree on the island of Bali portends for an ecological crisis in the future. They warn that various accommodation developments burden the island with a negative environmental impact due to the diversion of land use away from agricultural pursuits and the worsening water crisis. They strongly support calls on the government to impose a development moratorium on new accommodation projects to preserve and protect the island's natural beauty and resources. The nonprofit environmental organization says efforts are needed to restore Bali's environment by strengthening the enforcement of rules, and regulations governing shoreline use, forestry, and jungle conservation, and safeguarding agricultural lands. And we're still waiting to find out how that meeting last week went. But this has been talked about for years, about an upcoming crisis for water, and we know that during the dry season, a lot of fires because we don't have enough water. But let's keep building those villas, those hotels, swimming pools, and all sorts of other goody things that are sucking up the water that people need to live on here. Another example of fine planning for future needs. We talked about the disparity between the South and the North in terms of tourism. Minister of Tourism and Creative Economy targets 10 to 15% redistribution of South Bali tourists to the North. Yes, Pak Sandiaga Uno again. He directly tested this new tourist route from Banyuwangi, West Bali, and Buleleng called 3B via sea route using a fast boat. He did this on Saturday. After being tested, the 3B tour package was immediately opened and sold to tourists. Actually, I don't think it's on sale yet. Maybe, but I haven't heard about it being on sale. If you have, leave a comment, please. The ministerial entourage departed from Marina Bay in Banyuwangi, crossed the Bali Strait to the stopover at Pemutaran Bay. The 3B tour package is planned to end at Lovina Beach in the Kalibuk village area. The tour package from Banyuwangi to Lovina in normal and smooth conditions takes about 2 hours. Sandiaga admitted that he was very amazed by the journey he had taken. Not only could he enjoy the natural beauty of West Bali National Park, TNBB, on the way he was also greeted by dolphins, which are the main attraction of Buleleng. We have other attractions besides the dolphins. I did see today about 100 boats out in front of my house chasing the dolphins around. In addition to enjoying the beautiful Bali Strait, I was also accompanied by the head of TNBB who told us about the ecotourism potential of the national park. Suddenly, dolphins appeared that seemed to welcome us, and it was very surprising, said the minister. According to him, in this tourist route, the focus is on the stopover in Pemutaran. Then from Pemutaran, tourists can continue their tour to Lovina. This is also a solution for overland traveling from Surabaya, Bromo, Ijen, which has been hampered by the crossing over at Gilimanuk, which takes, I guess, 1.5 to 2 hours. With a fast boat, tourists, according to Pak Sandiaga, can spend the night in Banyuwangi and the next day head to Lovina with a travel time of 2 hours. The hope is that in the last 3 months, visits will start to be crowded. Sandiaga also explained that the opening of the 3B tourist route is one of the schemes to address the saturation point of tourism in South Bali. He said the target for the diversion of tourism from South Bali to North is probably 5 to 10% at first. So if 7 million tourists visit South Bali, we target 500,000 to 700,000 through this route in the first 2 to 3 years. He ensured that the tourism route through West Bali Conservation Area, including the Pemutaran Coral Reef Conservation, would not be disturbed. According to him, tourism in the conservation area is nothing new. Visitors who want conservation tourism, TNBB, is very ready. In addition to nature tourism, cultural tourism, religious tourism can also be enjoyed in one visit. Getting 700,000 people up here is not going to disturb things. I happen to disagree with you, Mr. Minister. Stopover in Pemutaran was made on this route because there's a large market demand in addition to the main target to Lovina Beach. Pemutaran and the TNBB area have very complex tourism. One of the famous events is Pemutaran Bay Festival. So the stages are what can be a breakthrough that is more qualified and provides a more enjoyable experience. We must prioritize conservation, so tourism must appreciate the part of quality and sustainability, safe in terms of conservation, but also rich in the variety of tourism products offered, he said. Meanwhile, regarding the availability of supporting facilities, such as a very simple dock, it's a good step. Good first step. The fulfillment of supporting facilities and supporting infrastructure will adjust when demand and visits are high. Pemutaran village head, Nyoman Arnawa, also welcomed the Minister of Tourism and Creative Economy and his support for the development of Pemutaran on the 3B route. Although so far, Pemutaran has become a very developed tourist village, it certainly still requires a higher level of visits. From our communication with several communities, the response was very positive and supportive of this route. If this goes ahead, we need to discuss further about the construction of a representative pier, said Pak Arnawa. Pemutaran tourism, which has been famous for its underwater conservation tourism, is visited more by foreign tourists. With the existence of the 3B route, it will be very good for domestic tourist visits, which are still limited in the area. And as you may know, a pilot from New Zealand was captured by Papuan rebels or independence fighters, whatever you want to call them, depending on your perspective. And he's been held captive for 19 months. Finally has been released. Indonesia and New Zealand deny Papua rebel claim bribe paid for pilot release. Jakarta and Wellington denied Monday a claim by rebels in Indonesia's restive region of Papua that a New Zealand pilot was freed from captivity over the weekend after they received payment from a local leader. The pilot, 38 years old, was released on Saturday by the West Papua National Liberation Army insurgent group after 19 months in captivity, as I said. Sebi Sambam, a spokesperson for the group, said that the Indonesian government gave money to the acting chief of the Papuan district where the pilot was freed, accusing him of paying the rebels without providing any evidence. He said the military and police gave bribe money to Edison Wijangi and his team. He was referring to the acting head of Nduga Regency. The funds then landed with the rebels through a family system. The TPNPB, that's the rebel group, handed over the pilot to Edison. Then Edison handed over the pilot to the Indonesian military and police. New Zealand Foreign Minister Winston Peters quickly rubbished any suggestion that Wellington was involved in payment for the pilot's release, saying it was diplomacy that secured his freedom. I think this is a disgrace, frankly, that it's even suggested that a bribe was paid. We don't pay ransoms, we don't pay bribe. All the work that's been done by these people of all sorts, including officials working as hard as they can and as cautiously as they can, not to make a mistake or be offensive and for things to fail, has now been trammeled by the allegation of a bribe. The spokesman for the Joint Indonesian Task Force of Police and Military that collected the pilot said no money was given directly to the rebels. There was no request for money or any conditions for the pilot's release. The rebels had said foreign nationals were targets because their governments had ties to Indonesia, from which they are seeking independence. During his captivity in the Papuan countryside, the New Zealander made sporadic appearances on video to address his family and his government. His appearance changed drastically over time, but he appeared in good physical condition after his release and arrival in capital of Jakarta on Saturday night. And talked a lot about the problem between the North and the South in terms of tourism and the economy. And, well, the answer always seems to be, let's bring more tourists up here, and that will make things better. It will certainly make things different. Whether it's going to make things better or not, I don't know. But here is a plan to do something for Buleleng that doesn't involve tourism directly. Bappenas designs Bali to become regional aerospace center. The Ministry of National Development Planning, Bappenas, is designing Bali, especially North Bali or Buleleng, as a hub or center for aerospace in the eastern Indonesian region. That's Intim. Deputy Director of Affairs said, by developing the aerospace industry ecosystem in North Bali, this is one way we can build a hub for eastern Indonesia. In addition, by developing the aerospace industry in Buleleng Regency, the disparity between North Bali and South Bali can be reduced. This is to build economic resources, and why we say aerospace ecosystem, because we are not only talking about an aircraft, but also training centers, MRO, and other ecosystems that will be built. There will be cooperative agreements between PT Dirgantara, Indonesia, and Bali International Flight Academy, which will work together for aviation training activities. Additionally, several groups will be cooperating together for the construction of aircraft facilities and for the cooperation and for construction of engine and propulsion MRO facilities. Later, by building an aerospace ecosystem, all sectors will move and we can create new jobs with quality jobs. At the same time, we encourage the development of tourism in North Bali. And there's this new plane, the N219, and they're hoping that in addition to encouraging the development of that, they want to build an amphibious model as well, which will be able to meet market needs. So industry that's coming in here that doesn't depend directly on tourism is a good thing. I don't know where they're going to build this. No discussion about that. But we're going to have an aerospace center up here. That would be interesting. Okay, that is it for today. Thanks for viewing. Be kind to someone today. Stay safe. And I will see you next time.